So I spent the day doing agent outreach. I was looking for properties on Privy in the Dallas, Texas area. It's towards the end of the day. It's about 6 o'clock now, but about 5 o'clock, I got a call from one of these agents. I knew exactly who it was because when I was doing research, trying to find who the agent was, this guy said he was from LA and he's also from Dallas. So as soon as I started rapping with him, I just started kind of trying to create a little bit of rapport. I asked him, hey, are you in LA or are you in Dallas? And we just kind of started rapping. He's actually originally from New York and I'm originally from Boston. So generally speaking, we kind of butt heads, but it's kind of this thing on the East Coast where Boston guys, New York guys, we hate each other, but we secretly love each other. It's just kind of a weird thing. But, a whole nother conversation. But the thing is I recorded this conversation. I was about 10 minutes in. If you're doing agent outreach and using Privy to find properties, you definitely want to listen to this call. I learned so much from this person just because they are coming from the agent's side, and this dude is super transparent, talking about wholesalers calling him, the challenges and those types of things. So if you're doing agent outreach via Privy or any other type of, if you're using the MLS or you're using Propstream or whatever it is, this is definitely gonna be a video that brings you tons and tons of value. Check it out.
And they're like, well, that was 3 days ago. I was like, yeah, that's why your earnest money ain't coming back to you.
So that's interesting. So in Texas,
$2,000. I'm like, well, sorry, you shouldn't have played around with the contract you didn't read.
That's interesting. So in Texas, you have to pay for the option to have that inspection. So it's a couple $100, and that gives you the option to terminate if for whatever for any reason.
Any reason.
So when a seller, and Paul, I hope you don't mind just me picking your brain a little bit, man.
I'm fine with it.
But
especially because you're in the face community. I'll give you anything you want. I like those guys.
I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. So then when a seller is looking at a contract that has that option in there, they're probably, it seems like they would be less likely to accept they'd be less likely to accept it.
Yeah, I have sellers that are constantly putting up distressed properties, and we'll put them up with no option period. And wholesalers call all day, why can't I get an option period? I'm like, because you either have a buyer or you don't. You sign the contract, it literally is a null and void until you put your earnest money, and the moment you put it, it's hard. You do not get it back. And we want $5,000. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, well, then don't buy it. Move on. I don't know what's wrong with it. It says it in the description. Don't call me if you weren't going to accept that.
So can I ask a question, Paul? If you had a wholesaler, so like when you and I were talking earlier, I basically just said, I was like, hey, my plan is to wholesale the property. If I was going to wholesale the property and I said, look, and I'm just thinking if I'm going to have a future conversations with Texas agents, if I were to say, I'm going to wholesale this property, but I'm not going to have not the contingency. What do you guys call it in Texas? The option
period.
But I'm going to waive the option period because maybe I already have a buyer for it. Are agents more open to having conversations with wholesalers because of that?
Not really. I don't like you guys. I tried, and because I'm in the face community, I tried to bridge the gap and be like the nice guy. And then I get all these listings. I had one guy, one of my flippers was like, hey, I got these 6 properties on the back end. He was like 30 a year. He's got 5 in the hopper. We got 3 on the market. He's got 6 coming up and 10 in the back end. He's like, put 6 of them on the market. Maybe we'll just hold them. And I'm like, okay, fine. Right? And he's like, I put them on the market and I got 1,000 phone calls a day. And all of them were wholesalers. They just burnt my bridge. I was like, fuck, you guys are terrible.
So, so the flipper, the guy who was flipping those properties, he wanted to wholesale them. He wanted to sell them to wholesalers.
Well, he had a back stock of 20 properties, and he's like, look, we got 3 on the market. They're selling, no problem. They're under contract. We got 2 or 3 more coming out next week, the week after. But then, those we're going to move the crew over to the next 2 or 3 properties. We still got a back stock of 10 properties. He was like, let's put a couple on the market, see if I could just make a quick 10 or 15, 20, at this number.
I see.
So you wholesale, right?
Yep.
And I was like, okay, sure. Give me $1,000 or 2 or whatever the deal was. I don't know. We do so many deals with the guy who basically pays me nothing, but I make a ton of money off the calls and the sign calls and the open houses, from my agents. It's great. But, so I just got bombarded with the intake of the wholesaler calls, and I was like, oh my God. That's terrible. Like the pitch is like the same pitch every time. It's the same.
Yeah.
And not every agent deals with them like I do. They don't. I don't know. And I'm like, every time, hey, I'm a cash buyer. And I'm like, okay, so you're a wholesaler.
So that's like an immediate disqualifier for you. If someone, okay.
100% for me. You say that, and I will call you out, and people will try to defend themselves. And like, I'm like, half the time I'm like, okay, whatever, send me your offer. I'm like, how do I do that? Text or email? Okay, and in Texas, pretty much in California too, I've never considered an offer anything outside of an actual contract. If you don't put it on paper, on a state contract or California state offer, I'm not going to tell my seller about it. It's useless. And then they're in a group, they're crying. I don't think this guy submitted my offer. I was like, you offered 80% below list, and you sent him a text message.
And you did it via text.
He didn't.
Okay.
Why the fuck would he waste his time?
So that's.
And it's like, and they're like crying about it. I'm like, you weren't going to get this deal, honey. It ain't going to happen. Okay. So
that's good.
You need to know if you're on market, you're dealing with an agent. Most likely, 90% of the time, they don't deal well or at all with wholesalers. So yes, you got to like smoke and mirrors a little bit, right?
Yeah. I feel like the exact I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm terrible about bullshitting people. I mean, that's why, even when you ask, like, what's the plan? I have no choice, but I'm a terrible liar for the first thing. And I just like being transparent. It's like, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing. So, and I don't think I could really ever change that. It's just not in me to just be a super, bullshitty kind of person. I'd rather just be super transparent.
Look, I learned it a little bit, because I go after direct to seller, and I'll call for sale by owners and expireds. And it's just hiding my objective until a point, in my opinion. Like for sale by owners, I built my business in Texas doing that. I would just call them and get myself in the door. My only objective was get in the house, see the house. Got to the house, I'm in listing mode. I'm now in a listing appointment hoping to list this house. They didn't know that. They didn't know that I'm at a listing appointment until the end of my meeting at the house. And then I was one of 3 agents that they were going to call if they ever listed it. And then I was likely called because I crushed them with, I've sold $10 million home, and I'm in a $300,000 house, right?
Yeah.
Here's my resume.
It's a layup for you. It's a layup for you.
Right. Maybe I lost a lot of them, but, point is I'm not good at lying, but at least if I just knew my objective, I could get past it and then bring it in later. Right. So for a wholesaler, I don't care if they tell me they're a wholesaler. I don't care if you wholesale it. But if I have a listing on the market, I need it sold. If you come at me, lie the whole time, get it under contract, like this last guy, he said he was a subto guy, he just fucking screwed up everything. He comes in, I'll do it. Here's my subject to offer and my cash offer. Seller's like, and plus the guy had been calling my seller direct for like 3 months. Like, first of all, nothing pisses me off more than you calling my client that I have under contract to sell through me. Just call me. Like, you understand? No agent does that because it's unethical.
You
guys can, you're right, but I can't.
Yeah. Is the property distressed?
What's that?
Is the property distressed? I guess I should probably know that, but I didn't see. I'm just wondering if maybe they pulled it.
Michigan is a shitty house. When it comes to it, it needs everything. It's a good walking house. It doesn't really seem structurally that terrible. No, North Texas, the soil is super annoying. Everything moves. Everything's got a foundation issue. And so wholesalers call, hey, what's going on with the roof? How old is it? What's the HVAC and what's the foundation? Literally, same 3 questions.
Same questions every time.
3 questions, 100% wholesaler.
Yeah.
Again, no, you know what a flipper would call me, an actual cash buyer? He'd ask me a few questions and ask me if I can meet him there today or tomorrow. He wants to see it.
He wants to see the property.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to make an offer without seeing it, 100% not the buyer.
Interesting.
It's true.
That's,
I sold a lot of cash buyers, okay? They don't need option periods. They need to see the property. They'll make a decision on the spot. If not, within 12 hours. But they'll see the property. They're not going to buy a property without seeing it. It's just not going to happen. I got 24 offers. One of them has been in the property.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Can I ask you a question, Paul? Those when you're saying like the cash buyers, like the real cash buyers, the guys who are actually coming in to flip the property, are these guys generally speaking reaching out kind of right after the property is listed, like within the first couple of days, or do you see that? Do you no?
They come around when they're available, when they drive by and they see what they like, or then they happen to be looking and they're like, oh, this one looks cool, and they randomly call. They're not hounding anything. They're not hound. The moment I feel a hound, I'm knowing it's not the buyer. I'm telling you. And when you go to wholesale, right, you say, let's say you lock this up, and you go to find your buyer, however you do, Privy, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think Privy is probably the best option to find buyers. I think it's the most genius way to find a buyer.
Yeah.
I think what they tell people is amazing.
Yeah.
But, I don't have time to do the Privy way. Honestly, I should and just sell the damn house myself.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that's the other thing. I'm surprised.
So you're like, hey, I got this property. What are you going to do? You have to pitch this property. Now you have to pitch the property and the contract that you have. You're now in my position. You're selling it. You're in sales. And guess what that person's going to say? Even if they like it, they're going to talk to you like I just said. Oh, look at this. Yeah, because you think we could move this kitchen over here and change the kitchen? And then the front door's in a weird spot. Could we put an awning on it and move it over there? And then where's the garage? We can enclose that. We can put that. Okay, so, hey, can we come check it out tomorrow? That's a buyer.
Yeah.
They didn't say, by the way, I have a cash offer for you, hardcore, right now. Let's close it.
Yeah, right. It's funny that you say that. So do you have access to Privy? Do you go on there? Have you messed around on there at all?
Yeah, I have. I had it for a few months, and I got rid of it because I don't use it. But I think it's an amazing platform for finding buyers and potentially surfacing, wholesale deals. I do think that it's great for that, for an on-market platform. Again, I don't really understand the whole wholesale on-market scenario, because if you were wholesale off-market like me, because I do wholesale, but I do it off-market, I call a seller, I go over there, I check out the property, I have 3 options. I'm like, okay, let's put this on the market here. You can get this for about $425 on the market, probably, maybe negotiate, we'll be at $410, blah, 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 here's your commissions, blah, blah.
Yep.
They're like, oh, lovely, $410, $420, I love that number. I'm like, or I'll give you, $340 today, cash offer, wholesale.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, it's so much less. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't have to pay $25,000 in commissions, potentially negotiate, do some repairs. We're really only $8,000 apart here.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, no, we want the $420. I'm like, okay. So I put it on the market. Or I'm like, what's your mortgage? Can I do a creative finance? That's where I wanted to pay, because I wanted to be able to bring that to the table at listing presentations so I can acquire more property myself.
Yeah.
I can only get 1 or 2 properties every 2 years with, how much down I have to put. But with Pace, maybe I can bring in 4 or 5 deals. So I'm thinking. Are you
saying with Pace? Is that what you're saying? With Pace?
With Pace's creative finance ideas and things, me alone, I'm looking 20% down. I got to save it. I'm, 2 years out, I finally get 20%. I buy the property, right? Every 2 years. So in 6 years, I have 3 properties. That's not going to make me rich, right?
Oh, right now there's people in the organization that are, they're crushing it. There are some people that are, doing just one or two. So there are people who are doing no deals every month, but there are people who are doing a ton of creative deals every month. It may be where, so when I joined the mentorship, it was like $10,000, but right now I think it's only $8,800, and I think they structure that over like 2 or 3 payments or something. If you're doing wholesale deals, just I'm a huge believer in not only so when you sign up, I signed up because I wanted the course, but what I found is that when I got into the mentorship, I had access to tons of investors who would, who will put money down or who do gator lending, and you have access, and then you have access to people who will give you feedback. And so I feel like that's where the value is.
No, I think that's the best part of it. To be honest, I agree with you.
Yeah.
The problem is I have a business to run, and I have a bunch of agents to feed leads to. So
Yeah.
I'm pulled a different way.
You're right. Yeah, makes
This
sense.
is my personal business. My real business is where the money is, and my real business needs the money currently.
Yeah, I get it.
Listening to Pace and Elephant Challenge gave me enough info to get me those 3 options at the table.
Yeah.
Now I can wholesale. Creative finance, I really don't know what to do if I get one I need, but I do have Damon. And
Yeah,
Damon
call your guy Damon, or you can call me. I have access to a bunch of guys, and I'll just plug in. I don't even
So if I need it, I got it.
Yeah.
Until I'll get in the group at some point, and there's another agent here, Diego, that looks like he wants to join the team because I'm a broker who is open to letting those guys do what they want, because they can do a bunch of deals. A lot of these guys are agents, but, they front face, investor, right? So for me, I don't mind, and I coach them along the retail, but also with whatever they do, as long as they keep their license off the contract, they don't have to pay me, and they're safe in the world of licensing. If they put their license on it, then I need to tell them exactly where to keep it. They can't just take, they can't wholesale it, list it, and take a wholesale fee. It's too much. It's against the disclosure world of a license. So keep your license off it, or take whatever you want, is what I tell them. So put your license on it and stay in one place. You get paid once. You're the agent. You don't JV it, right?
Yep.
So I teach all that my agents. A lot of agents around here come to me because I'm happy to house their license as this, wholesaler, creative finance guy, and they can do retail. But also, there's not a lot of agents, a lot of brokers that will do that. Will be happy to work with everybody, right?
Why there's just too much liability around it? Is that why people are wholesaling and?
Because the retail agents have no clue what's going on. They don't care about it. They don't want to know about it. They just want to shit on it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't care about the wholesale. I didn't know that they were going after on-market until this last year. It's honestly quite annoying for a on-market agent. Go after the shit off-market. That to me is the easier market.
Why do you think?
I'm fine with you going wherever you want to do, but
what? No, listen. I love the feedback. I would
direct to seller. I would just direct to seller. So I've never understood why. I wouldn't call another agent and make an offer and then try to resell it. That's how awkward what you guys are doing on market is.
Well, I think the reason why a lot of, and this is just what we hear from inside the community, is that the number that I've heard thrown around is 61% of flips are actually on market deals, and that's why the wholesalers are going after on market stuff because
because buyers buy them, not wholesalers. Yes, that's true.
It's true.
Buyers buy them.
It's totally true, but I think the just what's the play there is finding a property and seeing if you can find some margin in there, and guys are doing it successfully. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's a pain. Honestly, it's kind of a pain in the ass for me too. I actually am like, okay, I'm gonna call the listing agent. I know that they hate talking to investors. Like I know the drill. I know nobody wants to talk to an investor. They know what it means. It's a low ball offer. It's going to be some sort of potential wholesale. I know what that looks like, but I think part of the problem is that I think it's more difficult to find, off market stuff and go direct to seller. So I'd be curious to know, why do you think it's easier? And I hope I'm not taking up too much of your time, man. You're giving me so much good information. I enjoy, having this conversation. Okay. I'm curious to know why you think it's easier to go direct to seller versus, on market.
Because I'm an agent. I can't call direct to. Here's the deal. If you're on market, this is the difference between a wholesaler and an agent. If you're on market, I'm going to find a buyer, and then I'm going to make an offer. I don't even need to call you. You're useless. I know what your presentation is. Yep. It's on market. You showed me you offering 3%. You showed me the information. I have the picture. I have access to scheduling an appointment. I don't need you. You're on market. What I do need is that a buyer calls me and says, hey, Paul, I'm looking for a house in Mesquite, 3-2. I'm looking for some sort of flip. I can do this margin. And I do the math up front. I do my fucking job. Sorry, I'm terrible New Yorker.
No, I'm from Boston, man. So.
And so
Yeah.
From where?
I'm from Boston, so it's funny that we're getting along so good. We should be rivals, but I generally speaking, I swear like a sailor.
Your accent was not Orange County.
Yeah, no, I'm East Coast originally. Yeah, so. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
New York. I'm not the city, but I'm still up there.
Okay.
So anyway, the point is, like, to me, the difference between agent and wholesaler is you go find a property first that you think you can make a deal on.
Yeah.
Not you personally, wholesalers.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, at 150, I can totally resell this for 155 or 165 or whatever it is you think you get it. And then you're like, cool, I got it under contract. Now I have to call a million people and try to find some of the buyers. The opposite is for me. I'm always acquiring buyers, and they're like, hey man, I'm looking for a house over here, any part of town, whatever, blah blah. And I'm like, hey, I just found this house. Here it is, listed for 150. I bet we can get it for 130, and then we make an offer. And then the agent respects that because this buyer wants that house.
Yeah.
And then we close.
Makes sense.
Done. I have a lot more push with that agent because I have a buyer that wants it for what it is at the price I've set. Not like, hopeful, and then we cancel 4 days later, and you've wasted my time, you've annoyed my seller, you've ruined my relationship with my seller.
Yeah, sucks. I can see how that would suck big time.
Yep. Going back on the market 3 days later for no reason other than you got $100 out of the option period because he doesn't give a shit, he doesn't want that. He just wants it sold.
He wants to sell the house. Yeah, right.
Your objective is mine is different. You're looking to find if we can get a deal, then maybe I can find a buyer.
Yeah.
So I find a buyer, and then we look for a deal together.
Yeah, makes sense.
Once we get one, it's a sale. So it's a different angle on the same solution. So, because I'm represented, and my contracts hold me, but like I get like 3%. Sometimes I get 2%. 2% on $200,000 is like $4,000.
Right.
It's not a lot of money. You guys are like, hey, cool, I need to make 15 or does it make sense? Well, how about you guys hate on us? We're only making $4,000. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
And then I'm a broker, and my company, which I own, takes 30% of my cut because I have to pay. The company has to pay for something. But most agents get somewhere between 60 and 80%.
Yeah.
They're not getting all the $4,000. They're getting $3,000.
Right.
So these agents are making $3,000. You're making 15 and complaining.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
I had to cut it down to 9.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
You're right.
You make way more than me.
Right.
Why don't you try to do it for $3,000 and do 18 times more property is what I would think. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So, again, that's where the mindset is different. Like, and I try to explain that to wholesalers, not just the pitch being off, but you got the mentality, the price point. You guys are expecting so much more. Yes, 61% of investments are sold online, but guess what? 98% of all property are listed by realtors. So you got to realize you guys are. If you go direct to seller, you're fighting in a pool with other agents who are listing them at 98% margin, right?
Yep.
But you probably have a better chance. You can be more honest.
Yeah.
Your pitch of, hey, I'm gonna buy it, and or my investors is actually true. I agree with you. But people don't even say it.
Yeah.
And or my investors. That's the and or assigned. So, and I tell people how to write offers. Here, it's better to put and or assigned because the seller doesn't have to sign off. Most agents will get mad about it.
They'll get mad if you put most agents, they will get mad if you do put and or assigns?
Correct. But just know that the contract is assignable. It's assignable, 100%. But to change the name and make the assignment, the seller has to sign off on it. Doesn't mean it's not assignable. There's an approval process on the assignment.
Is there an approval? So is there an approval process even if you put and or assigns, or if so there's not.
And or assigns, you can assign it without the seller's signature.
I see, makes sense. And you know what Pace always says.
your option period's up 5 days. You're like, cool, we'll move forward, but we're changing it to ABC Banana LLC. Just sign here. They're going to do it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Like, oh, yeah, that's fine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You tell an agent, yeah, we're just moving into this LLC. Every agent's going to act like they know his shit, and they're going to be like, yeah, that's super smart, man. And they don't know. They're not. They don't have an LLC. They don't have shit. Literally, you just make it sound smart, and they think they'll agree to them being smart. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
Not just agent.
Yeah, no, it's everybody. So, it's everywhere. I get it.
I rant a lot to you guys about this because I deal with it so much on both sides.
Yeah.
And I really there's a lot of ambition on your side of the ball, right?
Yeah.
And I appreciate it more than you know. Because I know a lot of agents that have zero ambition.
Oh,
I bring them in and I get rid of them out of my team because I track calls, I track closings, I track appointments, I track everything. If you ain't making that shit, I'm just like, okay, you're not part of the team.
Yeah.
Because I give them leads, I give them all sorts of shit. Yeah. I know how many appointments it takes for me to get a closing and how many calls it makes to get a closing. I track everything.
Yeah.
So I would love more wholesalers on my team because they're fucking ambitious.
Yeah.
Fuckers will call me, they'll text me, and no agent does this.
Yeah.
Like, guys, just get your license and come work on my team.
I know, seriously. I know. I seriously, like, wholesalers have like a ton of, like, dude, I think I told you, I'm in the mortgage space. I've been in the mortgage business for 6 years as a broker. And, when in, 2021, I had 14 agents, doing refinances and purchases. And then once 2022 came around and then these guys had to start selling, they had to take calls and they had to make more calls. The phone wasn't just ringing off the hook because rates were going up. It shook out a lot of, and I'm just preaching to the choir here, but it just, it shook out a lot of guys who just really didn't have any hustle. They just didn't have any, they just weren't hungry enough for it. And then you get into these communities and like, there are guys in this community, like there's these two brothers, I think it's two brothers out of SoCal. Since the beginning of February, they've written like 180 offers or something, or maybe like, I'm like, how do you even have time? They're like writing like 9 offers a day or something. It's crazy.
So I automated offer process and I sent it out to the community. I was like, you want to write an offer in Dallas? You click this link, you write an offer. And that's how I did 180 offers in 2 months.
So you have some sort of software that's writing the offer for you? Is that what you're saying?
I set up a series of software connections that you basically fill out what the property address, the offer amount, the option period, the numbers, everything that goes into a contract. It spits out a contract for you and me to sign. The moment you or I sign, it spits it out to my admin staff who checks it and then sends it to the agent with a nice little letter that says, we're trying to offer you this and this is why.
No, that's awesome.
I actually just thought of a new way to update that. I can send the email through ChatGPT and make it unique every time. It's super fluffy.
Wow, that's sick.
So I could do all that, and I pretty much shut that down because 180 offers later, we got one deal, and it was a lot of work for my admin staff. That with other shit.
So like, I want to ask him about this, but like, I feel like if I ask him about the ChatGPT thing, it's going to go another direction. I just want to stay on topic, so I'm just
like, I had guys who would send me 5-10 properties, and I'd wake up in the morning with 5 or 10 properties per guy. They could just like be up all night or something. I don't know what they're doing. People in Cali, all over this country, who knows?
Yep.
So admin staff would come to the office in the morning and just check the deals and send them out.
Well, that's awesome.
And we'd CC everybody on it, including the buyer. So you would see we sent the offers to the agent, and anything that came back, any correspondence, we would CC with the buyers being the wholesalers. And I was like, I'd like to help these guys. If you get a deal, I get the buyer's fee. Why wouldn't I want that?
Yeah.
I'm going to make $3-5 grand, whatever. Great. But it just didn't work out. Like, I was like, you guys are making terrible offers, or I don't know. Like, I'm not here to tell you what offer to make on that, right?
Yeah.
You call me if you want me to do a CMA on 180 deals, I'm going to tell you.
Forget it. Yeah, forget it. No way. That's their job.
You want to be an investor, you put your money on that number.
Well, that's definitely the challenge of doing this stuff like out of state. So a lot of, California, it's crazy here. There's nothing really even on the market. So, it's hard. And then you go out of state. And my biggest challenge has just been, trying to figure out how to comp the properties, especially because like if we're talking about like, South Orange County, Mission Viejo, Laguna Hills, or, Corona and Riverside, like I know the areas, right? So I know it's like, dude, if you go across that street, it's totally different than on the other side. I know it. But when I'm looking at these these properties like in Dallas or in Memphis or, Atlanta or whatever, I'm like, I don't know anything about these places. And some of the guys like Pace and Jamil and like they'll get on the Zooms and they'll start comping stuff out and they're so good at it. And they're like, okay, this is where you got to be at. So I've been spending like a lot of time just trying to like learn how to like comp the properties appropriately, because that seems to be for me kind of the biggest challenge. Like, okay, the properties.
If you're a wholesaler, comping is one thing, okay?
Yeah.
We have to know also you're pitching a contract. You're signing a contract, right?
Yeah.
The moment you get that contract, you are now a listing agent. Straight up. You now have a property listed at your list price. What's your list price? Well, you have it under contract at $200. Now you're an agent making $3,000. Let's just call it. Let's just be fair, and you'll get what I get.
Yeah.
Now you need $3,000. So you're gonna pitch it at 205. You can negotiate a couple grand, right? Or you're, some crazy wholesaler who thinks they always have to get $15,000. Now you're pitching it at 220, and you're way out of pocket. Right? It's not gonna make sense. So know that when you go, the main thing I've told everybody. First of all, know the contract you're signing. Why? Because you are selling it. You should know the details and what they need. Also, your pitch mainly depends on what you can convince this buyer you've just found that it's worth on the ARV. That's the biggest thing. And the next biggest thing is they 100% Google it on their phone when they're talking to you. And they're like, it's on the market for 176. You're trying to sell it to me for 174. What's the deal? You need an answer. You need a full plan pitch that sounds 100% great. Like right now, Michigan, I just lowered it $20,000. Why would we take any less? We lowered it $20,000 yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get it.
You get it if you get it under list price today. Your pitch is, we got our list price the moment it lowered, and now I'm giving it to you for list price. Right, because you negotiated with me and you got it down to 68, and now you're getting a $8,000 commission. Right? See, so your pitch right there is, I got it taken out the cut, and we took it under a contract. The guy's got 27 offers. He's got them at and above that price. You can have it now for bid. You need a pitch.
Yeah.
You need a pitch.
Yeah, you're right.
The problem with the last guy was like, oh, the guys went there and they want to lose. It's only worth this. So you're going to have to come down $50,000 or else the deal's over. I'm like, here's the termination, sign it and we're done. Oh, no. I'm like, well, the problem is you listen to the wrong. You need to pitch your buyer better.
Yeah.
You listen to them instead of them listening to you.
Yep. I think that's part of the I for sure having that seems to be the challenge for a lot of people. I would say myself included, but I just I don't have that. I don't have the issue at the moment. But finding what a buyer is willing to buy the property for. In order for it to make sense for you to then buy, I think using Privy finding buyers is easy.
Don't waste time doing what you do.
Yeah. We
find a buyer. We send them some property. They're like, what's up with this one? We do a little research before we even call that agent, and then we decide whether it's worth going after.
Yeah.
And then if we decide it's going worth after, I have a buyer ready to buy it.
Yeah.
I don't have maybe I'll go find somebody. This seems like a number that a buyer would buy it at. That's what you guys are saying, right? It's like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I gave you this number at 120. If I listed it at 120, I would have another 150 offers. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Get your offer.
Yeah.
I could send you the spreadsheet on Michigan. 24 offers that start at 110, they go up to 180, and I'm listed at 176.
Yeah.
So get the point. Like the top ones have already said.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So,
well,
I have a calculation that shows me the average number. Guess what I told the seller, and guess what the average number is. I told you what I told the seller. Told him 150. Would get it done in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I have an average offering price 159. In my spreadsheet, I have a calculation that gives me the average. just in case they don't believe me. So there it is, 159.
Yeah.
I told them, put it at 150, you'll get 160. Didn't believe me, 196 went out the door. Again,
that's so funny.
Don't always pick the number.
Yeah. I get it.
Give good advice. Most do. Most are afraid to be really honest. I'm not. You know, somebody's like, it's worth 1.2, and I'm like, cool, but it's really worth 998.
I always feel like, just with anything else, the market is always going to set the price. Like, we can say, like, look, this is how much I want to get for something. This is how much I think it's worth. But at the end of the day, it's just, if no one's willing to pay that, or if they're willing to pay more than that, which at one point, rewind 12 months ago they were, the market is going to set that number, So, definitely if you, go ahead.
Yeah, the market sets everything. Right?
Yeah.
But, when you came with these groups and everybody crying about agents, I'm like, how many wholesalers won't take my call? They just text me.
They just text you?
Immediately.
They just.
And it's like the agents don't answer their phone. I'm like, wholesalers don't answer their phone. What are you talking about?
That's so funny.
All the time.
It's so funny because you were probably, I would imagine when you were calling me back, you're probably like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to deal with another one of these guys on Michigan Ave.
I didn't want to call you at all. I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously, that's my mindset.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
This text, I was like, he's a wholesaler.
Yeah.
I go, there's a very small percentage chance. This also, let me give you another reason why I think it's a wholesaler.
Yeah.
If you're texting me after 5 p.m., 100% wholesaler.
That's funny.
Cash buyers ain't working around looking at property after hours. They might send an email. They're definitely going to call between, probably 8 and 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Wholesalers only call me at night.
That's so funny.
I get so many calls. I'm like, guys, I love my kids. I'm having dinner. You just want a cash buyer? Come on. Call me tomorrow at 10 a.m. Oh, you have a regular job. Oh, that's fine.
Oh, my gosh. It's so funny. It's so funny. Well, listen, Paul, I really appreciate your time, man, and you just spending this time with me and schooling me. I know you got other things going on in your life, so I really appreciate you just giving me the feedback and all that stuff.
Yeah, something's about to happen. But I will say, listen, you send me your name, Johnny. I get that. Text me the full name and email.
Yep.
And write, I'm a paid subto student.
Yep.
I'll put you in my system. I'd love to keep in touch.
Yeah, me too.
You're welcome to call me anytime.
Awesome.
Once I put you in that way, I will be happy to take your call.
Cool. I appreciate that, Paul.
If you have questions in Texas and or California, happy to chat with it. If you need a broker agent in either state, definitely call me.
Awesome.
Happy to help in that regard, or just, you got a question on a contract you just got into. In Texas, let me just please tell you, in Texas, the option period just disappears. So if you get something, you're not protected past it, unless you extended it or terminated it. You have 3 options: extend, terminate, or move forward.
Yep.
Right?
That's awesome.
California, you know the difference. Everybody's fluffing around for another 10 days. Oh, we're going to remove the contingency. We'll send the document. No, it doesn't happen here.
Yeah. Texas doesn't play. They don't play around with that stuff.
It's just gone. I didn't know that when I moved here, and I almost screwed up my first deal because of it.
Yeah.
So
that is
money over that.
So much value. Thank you. I appreciate you schooling me on that. Definitely. It's something I didn't know. So, I feel like I've gotten so much value out of this. I really appreciate it, Paul.
Sorry I rant about the differences. No, I honestly would like them to work out better.
Yeah, no, it's
for my advantage if it does.
It's like a free lesson. So that's why I'm so appreciative. And if I don't know what I could ever do for you. I'm in mortgage, so but I'm sure you have a bunch of lenders you work with. I'm in Huntington Beach, so if there's ever a property or something you need me to go, be boots on the ground and look at for you anywhere.
For mortgages, what do you do there? You mean if I had a guy buying a condo in LA?
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I can do the deal. Yeah, that's right.
A house in the hills.
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. Let's go with $3 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be down. I don't have a guy that I really love in LA, so if someone calls me, I'm happy to, refer. That's no problem. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I would appreciate that.
So just, again, text me, full name, email, subto, ID Mortgages, and you'll get in my system, and maybe we can do something someday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then look up David.
I'm going to.
He's doing a lot in Houston. He's really killing it on a lot of things. He's got his own little some Facebook group. He does some Zoom. Like he's really a fun guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's a cool guy. He's a I don't know, Army. He's a military vet. Super cool guy. Does a lot of cool stuff. So look him up.
I will. I'm going to connect with him for sure. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll send you a text with my contacts.
Contact with him. When you send it to me, it goes into our CRM, and I can share it to him as well.
Awesome. I appreciate you connecting the dots. It's so awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Paul. Look, have a great weekend. And if you ever end up out here in Cali, hit me up and we'll go grab some lunch or something.
Totally. Cool.
Awesome.
Stuff.
Cool, Paul.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, brother. Later, man. See ya. Bye-bye. All right. So that was an interesting conversation. So what you missed at the very beginning of that call was me just kind of talking to him about the property. He asked me, are you a wholesaler? Are you going to flip the property? What is your, plan with it? And, I was just super transparent, partially because I didn't really even know what to say, but I basically just said, I'm a wholesaler. I'm looking to, acquire the property and wholesale it, and just wanted to get some feedback. It looks like this particular property, it looks like somebody went in, there's like some parts in the ceiling that are missing, some walls that are kind of like, it looks like it doesn't even look like construction. It looks like almost like demo started in some areas. So I was just asking him about those things, and, and it just kind of snowballed into this conversation. And he started saying, well, he said something about creative finance, and then somehow got into like subto, and he's like, oh yeah, I just met Pace, and kind of started having those conversations, and said that he has a couple agents, he's a broker, has a couple agents that are subto students that are doing deals or whatever. So we were just rapping, and I tried to just, some of the stuff he was saying that he was talking about, I've heard before, and some of it I knew, and some of it I maybe didn't agree with 1,000%. But what I've learned just, I guess as a salesperson for so long, is that when you have somebody on the other end who's providing value and giving you information, I always want to, what do they say? Chew the meat and spit out the bones. So I want to listen to everything they have to say and see what kind of value I can get out of what information they're providing. Plus, I'm networking with this person. So, because I am in lending, I even said, and you heard at the end of the call, if you have any, if you have anything I can do for you. Now, I certainly wanted to be like super, I want to say like submissive is the word. I don't really know. Humble. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but this guy was really generous with his time. I didn't get to record the entire conversation. I missed about the first, I think like 10 minutes or so before I was like, oh shoot, I should record. That's why it's dark in my office. I had nothing in my hair, and I just look like a wreck, but I wanted to record it because I feel like there would be some value for some other people to learn. And I don't know where I was going with that, but when he was talking just about different things, I wanted to just hear everything he had to say, because he was happy to provide that value and that information to me. And the one thing that I learned, let me back up a little bit. He did mention, he's like, yeah, I went to like a subto meetup and I met Pace and I like the community. And even at the end, you heard him say like, hey, you're part of the subto community, so that's awesome. I'm gonna get you plugged in. So for those of you who are like on the fence, like, oh, maybe I should join the community, maybe I shouldn't. The subto community is definitely making a disruption inside the real estate space. Realtors are in, and maybe not all of their interactions have been that good. I hope they have. But I think that this guy has had some really great experiences, and that's another win for us in our community. So he basically said, send me your information, and maybe we can do some business, and if you need any help, I mean, you heard what he said. But the takeaway for me was being able to tell him, look, I don't know how I could help you in California, but if I ever could, I'm here. If you need me to go look at properties, be boots on the ground for you. And he immediately said, I don't have a lender that I necessarily like, so maybe that'll bring some lending business. So super fruitful call, potential business down the road. But if nothing else, it was awesome because I learned a lot. And the biggest thing was, in my memory, I can't seem to remember, but that kind of contingency time period, the option period on those contracts was something really new to me. I didn't realize in Texas they have that option. It sounds like an option insurance where you basically can, you pay money for the ability to cancel the contract for whatever reason. Then you lose that money, but I didn't know that. So it was awesome to learn that stuff. So I hope you guys found value. If you guys have any comments, things that you think I should have asked him, please put that in the chat down below. If there's anything that maybe he said that is maybe not the same for you, I would also love to hear that too. I'm just on a mission to learn, and my channel is really for that. It's not just for me, it's for other people who are trying to get into real estate and they want to learn. And let the comment section be a place where you can correct some of the things that maybe I said wrong or that I heard wrong or that he said wrong. I would definitely appreciate that. So that's it. Talk to you guys later. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. Show me some support. Thanks, guys.